Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio.
To Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, time!
3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Throw game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
Pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company Studios. Up next, Kyle Neddenriep will be joining us. We're going to talk about recruiting and the importance as Indiana has a new basketball coach, and they have been pretty hit and miss on the recruiting side of things over the last couple of years, and I think that there are multiple opinions on why that has been, but I think that the biggest part of that has not been the ability to hit it. Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star joining us now, and Kyle, I know we'll get to the semi-state because it's a big deal going on this weekend. Of course, Indiana just named their 31st basketball coach. And I was talking about the importance of recruiting. While it's different now with the transfer portal in the state of Indiana, it is still of great importance because year in, year out, you're going to have a Braylon Mullins, a Trent Sisley, a Flory Badunga, whomever. There's going to be these guys, Braden Smith. We can go on down the line. Purdue has a roster full of them. There are plenty of guys that you're going to want because it has to be a mix of 3-4 year guys. Like I consider Trent Sisley a 3-4 year solid guy that you're going to love having. And then there's going to be Liam McNeely's and those guys that you mix in. Regardless of that, recruiting the state of Indiana and recruiting them the way they need to be recruited is very important. Hence why Braylon Mullins is not in state, etc.
It is. I mean, and you're right. It's changed dramatically, even in the last few years, obviously, and the importance and probably the overall interest in high school recruiting is waned because of all that. You know, the portal comes first now, but you know, DeVries. You know, it is interesting because you think back to the success he had at Drake, which was you know, they were completely off the radar, you know, not good for many years. You know, I went to Missouri Valley Conference School. They were always in the playing. There was a 10-team Arch Madness. They were always in the playing game almost every single year. He turned that program into, you know, something really good, obviously. And he did it with some Indiana guys. You know, I don't know if people remember, you know, DJ Wilkins played at Maryville High School. Tremel Murphy played at Griffith High School. He had some Indiana influence on his team. I'm not saying that's the be all end all, or he's, you know, fully aware of high school basketball recruiting in Indiana by any means. But it is interesting to me. He did have, you know, those teams had an Indiana presence on there, so he is familiar, I think, with, you know, Indiana high school basketball and that sort of thing. So I think, you know, there is some familiarity there. I beyond recruiting, I told Zach Osterman when it first started, this would be my pick, you know, of the realistic choices. Sorry, Jim. I think you muted yourself. Jim, are you on mute there?
I sure was. Thank you. Boy, I apologize. Why was that he was someone that stood out for you?
I would say because just because of what I just said about Drake and what and I know it's a totally different level, you know, and NIL and portal things have changed the landscape. But, you know, just being familiar with where Drake was, and I never thought that was a program that would be, you know, and McCollum has obviously kept it going to the high level. But man, I mean, they were nothing. And the fact that he's learned under McDermott at Creighton, I like that too. I like the way Creighton plays. You know, it's a modern, you know, they shoot the heck out of it. You know, every single year they're one of the best offensive teams in the country. Creighton is. So I think there's some of that. You know, some of that. They may not play exactly like Creighton, but I think there's some of that influence as well. I just see him as a program builder, and I think that's what IU needs right now. And you know, obviously, you know, the you're not going to turn Brad Stevens being my number one pick if I was choosing, but you know, of the choices that seemed like realistic hires, I thought he would be right there at the top of the list. And he's of the age. What is he? 49. I think he's at a good age where he has experience, but still has some good years ahead of him. So I don't know. It just seemed like it just seems like a really good fit to me. Fit's kind of the all-encompassing generic word, but it just, you know, I liked all of what he brought to the table. The one thing you didn't know is, you know, being 1 year at West Virginia, how that was going to play into it. But yeah, I mean, I like this hire.
Yeah, and obviously Trent Sisley liked it. He sent out a tweet yesterday that said, "Let's work." But there was a relationship. I mentioned this earlier. His brother Blake, who played at Evansville when DeVries was coaching at Drake, they played against each other, and he played against his son Tucker, who will be coming to Indiana and who is a very, very good ball player.
Yeah, you mentioned Tucker too, because he was a big part of that success at Drake as well. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a relationship there. I think Trent would have been, you know, it would have been to have to be a pretty, you know, I think he was in on IU.
Yes,
he's going to give IU a run no matter what. But it's good that he's excited about it, and you know, I can't wait he's going to be up here playing in a couple of weeks, and looking forward to that too. So, but yeah, it's I think Trent, you know, being on board, and he'll definitely be a guy who will be out, you know, front and center, and you know, and I think people like Trent Sisley and like what he's about, and I think we'll like him as a player, maybe more importantly than anything. So yeah, I think that's a good start, I'd say, to the relationship.
You mentioned the Chipotle Nationals coming up soon in April at Hamilton Southeastern High School, and Montverde and Trent Sisley will be in attendance for that. So great for Trent's career to get the end in Indiana, even though he didn't get to play his senior year here. The semi-state coming up this weekend. Lots of big games on tap.
Yeah, we'll have it's that new format where it's a little bit different than it used to be. The regional and the semi-state kind of flipped positions, if you will, and you know, the semi-state now is a 4-team runoff, and you know,
and let me say that I hate it from the standpoint of the teams that make the semi-state championship game, I guess you'd call it. That's actually the Final Four. I would be so mad if I got robbed out of, if you lose in that game, but we made it to the Final Four, man. But you don't get to really say that. You can say it, but it doesn't carry the same deal.
No, it feels more like it feels, I don't know what it feels. It feels like a regional final, you know, it feels like a Sweet 16 to the Elite 8 type of game, but then you only have one game after that. So, but yeah, it's different. It's I don't know if I like it. I put out a poll actually last week, and you know how it is on social media. A lot of it's negative, but I think it was like 79% preferred the old way, and there was a lot of votes, like over 2,000 votes, I think, or something like that. So, but yeah,
I'm in that camp, baby. I'm in that.
So I mean, it'll be a great day. I mean, I'll be at, for the third year in a row that they've done this. They put 4A at Newcastle, which kind of you know, doesn't sit well with the Jeffersonville crowd,
as it shouldn't. That's another thing. They're screwing up.
It also doesn't sit well, and I don't know if it you know, Fishers has to go to Elkhart, you know, and that's a haul. You know, Wapahani has to go to Michigan City. That's the farthest trip of any of the teams. You know, so it's not just Jeffersonville, but it is, you know, it is a trip. But also, I will say, if you're going to do it this way and you're going to use the biggest gyms, if you're going to use Newcastle, it's not going to fit. It's not going to fit with anything. So you either use these gyms or you do something completely, kind of change the format of everything, because it's just not going to work. Newcastle's located in a spot where it's just not going to be, just geography wise, it's not going to work for everybody. So, I'd say, in my opinion, enjoy the fact that you're here, make it into an event, trip, and, raise some money. And, I know that's easy thing to say, but I just, if this is the way it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. But I would say the best game of the day, in my opinion, will be the Jeffersonville Mount Vernon game, at least of the early games. I think that Mount Vernon team with Luke Ertl is super confident, playing their best basketball. They're spreading the floor. They're going to give Jeffersonville everything they've got, and I think it'll be a really good game. The Jeff team, I would probably favor them to win that semi-state, but it's not going to be easy. And if we do see a Jeff Fisher's championship game, I think that'd be fantastic. But I'm not putting anything past Mount Vernon right now, because they have anytime you have a point guard who's playing the way Luke Ertl's playing right now, you've got a shot, and he's playing phenomenal basketball right now. So I think that'll be a fantastic game. And then the other game, Terre Haute North is sort of the upstart there, and they'll play Lawrence North in the first game. I'm not putting anything past Terre Haute North either, but that would be an upset if they could beat Lawrence North. Lawrence North, they're a team that they don't shoot it great from the perimeter, but everything else they do really well. They attack the glass. Xavier Robinson will defend like crazy, and he can score a lot of points, obviously. So, LN versus, assuming LN wins that game, LN versus Mount Vernon or Jeff, I think will be a phenomenal game at night too. So, but yeah, there's some really good. Probably maybe the best overall bracket would be at Southport, where you have the 3A game, the 3A semi-state with Princeton versus Attucks, and then New Pal versus Brownstown Central. That'll be phenomenal as well. So I think actually that's flipped around. Brownstown Central, New Pal's at 10, and then Princeton Attucks at noon. So those will be two fantastic games as
well. With the coaching change at Indiana, Todd brought this up, said the first thing he would do when he got to Bloomington was turn around and drive to Indianapolis, or actually Greenfield, wherever, and would be knocking on Braylon Mullen's door and see if he needed a ride to school. And I'm like, that is smart thinking, because they're still can be recruited. And you wonder with the coaching change, because I know that had a lot to do with the decision that Braylon made. I'm not taking anything away from UConn. My God, they were a two-time defending national champion. But the pull to Indiana had to have been strong, but it not strong enough. I wonder if there's a possibility that that he would give Indiana another look.
I mean, I would think that ship has sailed for 1 year at least. I mean, who knows what can happen, with the portal the way it is. Who knows what can happen in the future. I'll say that. But, I think that's probably, for at least for 1 year, that's probably, where he's going to be going. But yeah, I mean, obviously you'd take him if he wanted to come back to IU for sure. And they were, definitely in the mix there. And UConn just recruited him a little bit better than IU did, in his opinion.
Oh man, so you've got a big weekend ahead of you. Where did you say you were going to be?
I'll be over in Newcastle. I wish I could be more places than one, including Southport. Yeah. That'll be awesome. But yeah, I'll be at. I will be watching Jeff and Mount Vernon and LN and Terre Haute North play in the early games. Then, depending on who wins, I'm sure I'll probably end up staying there. But if certain things happen, I might end up going to Southport. But I'll probably stay there.
Kyle, we appreciate you, my friend. Enjoy it. Don't work too hard.
All right. Appreciate you, Jim. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio.